Good morning, I am Kevin Price. Delighted to be with you. Going to spend some time talking to you about you and your business. Going to spend some time chatting with Bernard Kerik, and you know that name. He was police commissioner of the city of New York in one of the most important moments in that city's history. He was the mayor of New York, Giuliani's right-hand man when it came to dealing security issues, and we're delighted to have him on the program. How are you, sir?
I'm good. Thank you, sir.
Tell us a little bit about, first of all, get us up to speed to where you're at today. What's going on in your life today?
In 2004, I was nominated by President Bush to take over Homeland Security, and as a result of that nomination, about a week later, I had to withdraw my name after I had to admit that I had a nanny or a domestic servant that I had not paid tax on. And that led to 5 years of state and federal investigations that ultimately resulted in me pleading guilty to tax and false statement charges federally. And I was sentenced to 4 years in federal prison after 35 years of working for the government as a cop, correctional officer, warden. I was commissioner of Rikers Island, the NYPD commissioner during 9/11, and the interim minister of Interior for Iraq in the aftermath of the fall of Saddam Hussein. So it was a steep fall, if you will.
Yeah, that must have been very devastating from an emotional perspective. And I see that you ended up spending altogether, it appears, around 3 years.
3 years and 11 days within the system, yes, sir.
Yeah, that's pretty devastating. So, I guess the obvious question is what were the takeaways from that entire scenario?
You know what? I've been in this business my whole career. Since I was 18 years old, I was an MP in the U.S. military, and my career took off from there. And I've been a federal drug agent. I was a very aggressive cop. I put a lot of people in prison, bad people that did bad things. Cop killers, terrorists, people that tried to kill me, killed friends of mine that I worked with. I seized tons of cocaine, millions in drug proceeds, and then I went to federal prison. And I met young men that were there for first time, low-level nonviolent drug offense, possession of 5 grams of cocaine, 2 sugar packs in a donut shop, 10 years. They were sentenced to 10 years, 15 years. I met commercial fishermen that caught too many fish or the wrong size fish. And I came to realize quickly that we are taking tens of thousands of men and women every year and turning them into convicted felons. We are creating a cloud over their head for eternity. We are creating a second-class society of people that cannot add to our economy, that cannot come back into society as a fully empowered citizen. And these are things I just didn't realize in the past. And I'm not talking about bad people that did bad things. I'm not talking about murderers and rapists and pedophiles. I'm talking about, in most cases, many cases, first-time offenders, nonviolent offenders. These are things I never really focused on when I ran 2 of the largest law enforcement organizations in the country, the NYPD and the New York City Department of Correction.
You know, what's interesting is that this is an incredible growth industry. You know, and I've kind of evolved over time, and you probably even more so than me, from kind of a 3-legged stool Reagan conservative, you know, which includes being real law and order, to really being very doubtful on how our society handles its people. When you've got the largest number of people who are imprisoned by percentage of population in any country in the world, except for maybe North Korea, where really everyone, is a prisoner. When you've got that kind of environment, and then you look at studies like the Heritage Foundation has produced, which shows just a huge number of laws that we're all in violation of, that we're not even aware of as citizens who have broken the law. It's kind of like the government has a stockpile of information on all of us that they can put us away whenever they want to.
And that's what the American public doesn't understand. That's why this book is so important. That's why they need to be educated. There has to be a question that every citizen in this asking their legislators, and this goes back to what you just said, how is it that we are 5% of the world's population in total, yet this country holds 25% of the world's prisoners? How is that physically possible? How do we have more prisoners in this country in prison than China and Russia and even North Korea? How's that possible? It's impossible.
Yet we daily have parades about being the land of the free and the home of the brave.
And the problem is we've evolved into a society where we believe that prison is the only punishment, and then we're taking civil issues and ethical issues and administrative, regulatory issues, and we're turning them into criminal conduct. And that takes people out of the workforce, and listen, I'm all for locking up the bad guy. I've done this for years, and I've been involved in gun battles, and I've done it all. But at the end of the day, we're putting good people in prison that make mistakes. We're putting people in prison that didn't even know they were committing a crime and not thinking one thing of it. And this is going on all over the country. People don't realize it, and they don't have any conception that it's happening until it impacts them in some personal way.
Yeah. By the way, Mr. Kerik has a new book, From Jailer to Jailed, My Journey from Correction and Police Commissioner to Inmate 84888-054. I love that title.
Well, listen, I wanted reality. I wanted people to look at the book and want to know what it was about. And at the end of the day, and I'll touch on one other thing you said, how we are handling the people we put in. I know there's a lot of law and order people out there that think, lock them up and throw away the key, and anybody that's convicted in a court or pleads guilty deserves prison, deserves what they get. But you take that 18 or 19-year-old kid that's never had a problem with the law, that walks into an arena where he gets caught with some low-level drug offense, and he's nonviolent. He's never had a problem before. We stick him in prison for 10 years. You completely monsterize that kid. You turn him into an absolute thug, because that's what prison is. It's a training ground for thuggery and criminality. And most importantly, he learns that even if he gets in a verbal dispute with someone, it's going to turn into a beat down or somebody getting cut. That's what you're sending back into society.
Yep.
Is that really what we want?
Yep.
I don't think so.
I got to wrap it up. I'm going to get you back on, though. I wish we had more time. By the way, who do you like for president?
I think it's premature. It's way too early.
I wanted to try to throw
way too early.
I wanted to see if I could get you with a quick answer on that. But I really like the book, and I really appreciate your time, and I'm going to get you back on.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, make sure you check out the book. The book is phenomenal. Very important reading, From Jailer to Jailed, by Bernard Kerik, our guest today. Thanks so much, sir.
Thank you.
When we come back, much more for you. I do want to remind you that the best content here shows up over there at usatoreview.com. And you're listening to The Price of Business.